life engineers and those who want to become the greatest humans possible. My name is Eckl and you're watching this because you want the best life. How to start life after high school. I personally want to talk about this because it's what I just experienced over the last couple of months. So 4 months, I don't know, ago, I graduated high school, and I just want to share my experiences and what I believe also in combination with my principle of life engineering, what I believe how we should start our life out when we just start. So if you're watching this, you're probably in the same situation, or you're about to get into a situation, or you've been in this situation, or you've been in or you are currently in a similar situation. For example, you graduated college and all stuff, and I just want to share my thoughts on that. So the first thing I would highly recommend is to take a break. Take a break. I think this is something that a lot of people recommend, and I would recommend this on the one hand, so that you can use your youth and that you can do all the things that are fun and you might not later do in your life. But the main thing, because I don't believe that you can do the things later in your life. You can design your own life, right? So that is just a BS excuse for me. So the main reason why I would recommend to take a break is to simply get free of all the stuff you've currently been dealing with in your life. And what I mean by that is that not necessarily that you take away every responsibility, but you've been in this machine. It's a machine. You've been in this machine of school all the time. Everything was scheduled, and you haven't really think about too much. You really just had to do what was there, and then you've done that, and now you're, I don't know what you expect now out of life, but you've been used to something entirely different. Now you have all the freedom in the world, and that can be quite difficult. And not only that, you also tend to stay with this. So in order to really make step 2, which I will tell you soon, to do it properly, you have to take a break. Because step 2 is that you actually get honest about what you want, to get real about what you want, and to get clear about what you want. What do you want out of this life? It does not necessarily have to be for your entire life, but what do you want out of the next 5 years? What do you think, in order to live the best life, would be a great move to do? And that is so important to do because, that is your destination. That is where you want to go. That's where you're heading in life. That's your direction. So we really want to have a very, very clear thought about it. And if you're not taking a break, you are probably still around your parents, still around your friends, you're still in the same environment. You might still be somehow concerned about school or how good your grades were and all this kind of stuff. And you will make this decision from this point of view that you've always been in. So in order to make a proper decision, this is one of the most important decisions of your life, if not the most important decision of your life. So if you really want to make it a good choice, then you better take some time off. Maybe you even want to travel somewhere and all this kind of stuff, just to get a different perspective. As I just said, if you always have this one perspective, you can't, it's not only that your environment will always keep you in the same pattern, it's also that you have a very narrow perspective of life. You have to see more of it to actually make a good choice. But also, don't let that trick you. I do not believe that you have to have seen every culture in the world to decide what you want to do with your life and all this kind of stuff. But I think it's so important to get into a place where you're somewhere completely different, where you see different people, and By the way, this can also mean that you're simply sitting down in your room. Honestly, it can literally be your room. Maybe, good idea, don't use your own room, maybe go in the basement or something different, but it can also be that. And you're simply sitting down for an hour, or if you want to do it very seriously, for a day. Like, if you're really serious about life, do it for a day. But even if you're doing it for an hour and you're really sitting there, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? You start to imagine one thing. Would this be everything I would demand out of this life? And then you can make a proper choice. But you have to go through this process. The biggest danger is that you're shooting for someone that's just coming out of this flow from school. Because I believe that, it does not mean that it can be something like that. If you're taking this break, if you're making your choice what you want to do, and then that is something that's totally aligned with school, do that. Nothing wrong with that. But I truly believe that if you're instantly going after what's after school, like what would be the sweetest solution or the safest or most attractive kind of stuff, or most coolest stuff which your parents like, and all these things, then you will leave out on so much more potential you could probably have. And so really, please make this. Once you did this, make a plan. Make a plan. And this is probably as hard as in the first place thinking about what you actually want. Because there are so many choices what you could do. Even if you know what you want to do, and for example, that does not necessarily have to be a profession. For me, it's simply to live the best life possible. That is the only thing I make any choice on. Anything. Because if I would say I want to become a public speaker, I couldn't be anything else, right? So you can make the demand as high as possible. I actually believe that there is nothing else you can say than living the best life possible. But what is this one tier below that? What is that? Is it for you to grow as much as possible as a person, to become a great scientist? Do you want to have a great family life? Do you want to master life how I want to? And all this stuff. So get clear about that. And then you have to make a plan. And that is super hard. It's super hard. Because the problem with making a plan is that you don't really know the road ahead. So also don't get confused about it. If you're confused about it and it doesn't help you, make the plan as far as it's appropriate, as far as it's useful to you. If you're, for example, planning to become the president in a 15-year window, you will not be able to plan through every week. That's not going to happen, okay? But if you know where you want to go, there are, of course, milestones. Get clear about these milestones. What do you have to do? What do you have to do? And then look at how long will I take for them? Smart goal setting. It's so widespread, and that is a good thing. Set smart goals and use them. They're not bullshit just because everyone's talking about them. They're real. They're good. Use them. And then you can break down everything more. And you can suddenly you have a plan for your life and ahead of you, for the greatest mission you could ever be on. You can actually do whatever you want, and you have it right in front of you. And once you have this, I hope that I don't have to tell you it, but then you have to execute. And I hope that it's not for you that you have to execute, but that you finally can execute, that you finally can go after it, that you can finally do the thing that you want out of your life. And then after you got this, you're in it. You're suddenly living your dream. And of course, you have to make sure that that is practical, that it's appropriate to your situation. And I don't know, if you want to go to Harvard, but your family can't afford that, then you might want to look for a scholarship. There are always possibilities, right? But you really want to make sure that it's practical. Keep it practical, but also shoot high and be willing to go for an extra decade in order to get your goal. And once you did all of this, and then you probably, I'm telling you, if you honestly went through this process, you will be so incredibly on fire to actually go after it. It will be so easy to do, but I mean, also there will be hard points, like don't get me wrong in this, but just like this natural ambition and this fire for it will help you so much with that. There's just one thing more I want to share with you here, and that is be flexible in your thinking. For example, if you make the choice that you want to become, I don't know, a rapper. You want to become a rapper. And then you're like, damn, meditation or spirituality gives me so much more. You should never be like, oh, but I wrote down that I will be in 10 years, I don't know, having a song with Rihanna, what do I know? Then be flexible. Accept that you're not doing it. That has to be okay. So make a plan, hold yourself accountable to it, be on fire, go fully after it, but also be flexible in your thinking. Life has so much more to offer than, even if you've visited many countries, than you can ever know. And so make the plan strict, but be flexible in your thinking, because it can always change, and be open to the change. Be open to the change. Don't always say, no, this is what I chose, this is what I chose, this is what I chose. Look at other things. If your one thing is still better, go after it, and go it all the way. But still look at the sideline and look what else is there, what else could I do, maybe there's something greater. So guys, I hope now that you're going to live an amazing life. I mean, I think I'm mostly talking to younger people here, just as I naturally do on my YouTube channel. Go after it. Go after it. The process is simple. Maybe doing it actually might be harder, might look impossible. But you just have one life, right? You just have one life. So go after it. I mean, I'm currently doing it for myself. I'm not, I know, 70-year-old telling you to go after it. I'm currently doing it myself, and I have the fear, I have the doubt, just as you have. Like, it's real, it's happening. But if you're constantly pushing yourself further, you say, this is my dream, I want to do this, I'm going to do this no matter what, and you will keep on doing. Because no matter, I mean, if it's truly something you love, no matter how disappointing it is, how rude someone is, for example, for me in the comments or something, I don't care. Maybe I care for a minute, maybe I care for an hour, maybe I care for a day, and maybe I care for a week or even a month. But after 1 year, and in most cases the next day, I will be here again. Why? Because I want to do this. And nothing can stop me from that, right? And that is the mentality we want to get in, because then you're really unstoppable. You might not always feel like you're unstoppable. I have evenings where I'm like, fuck, is this all right? But if you really chose something that you really want to do, you will always show up. You will always show up again. Maybe you might miss a day. Maybe you might miss 2 days. But you will show up again. And that is why I believe so strongly, because I can feel it in myself, and I'm so certain that you can get to this point as well, that you can actually do whatever you write down. So please go after it. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and now make yourself and your life your masterpiece.